This is Last Oasis. This is a somewhat exclusive early look at the game that's going to be available on Xbox through the Xbox Game Preview program. So I was able to come in on a developer session to take a look at this game and get an idea of how it was running, take some notes, ask some questions, and of course we'll be following up with regular gameplay that we've taken, but this should be representative of the Xbox version from what I understand. So on the platform, it's going to be in-game preview like I mentioned. They did also note that it's going to be basically a 30 FPS target. They're not going to have any sort of Xbox One X enhancement or Series X/Series S enhancement, and they haven't decided whether or not they're going to be doing a free upgrade in that regard or doing a new version. I think it's kind of a wait and see sort of situation for this one. So keep that in mind, because those are obviously things that people are quite interested in. So it's probably going to be like 1080 30. They have tested it, and apparently they can get up to like 45 frames, but they're capping it at 30 so that it's running smoothly. So they did note that it's going to be about 30 US, and you can actually see a link in the description, and as a pinned message where you can buy that through an affiliate link, just in case you're wondering. And it marks the Season 3 arrival of the game, with the Xbox being available. It's going to have full crossplay between PC and Xbox. You can, of course, turn that off entirely if you want, and it definitely has some interesting elements to it. So crossplay realms, if you're familiar with the game that has realms, revamped user interface, so you can play mouse and keyboard on the console they mentioned, or with a gamepad. And it's now going to be available for PC players too in regards to gamepad controls. And yeah, we did mention Xbox only realms. And they're changing how realms are done in this game too. And like I said, we've got all these like notes that I'm kind of going over, and a little bit of a press release. So I actually thought the game was really interesting. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So this feels somewhat in line with basically like things we cover on the channel, you know, like DayZ or like Ark. It's kind of neat. So it's basically like this nomad thing, and the world is just a total wreck. It's set thousands of years in the future on a post-apocalyptic Earth. Nomadic survivors, forced to outrun a scorching sun after cataclysmic events, have halted the planet's rotation. So now you travel the world on massive open, well, it's a massive open world, but you travel on these huge wooden objects, and they're now adding like flying objects that you'll see later on in the video. So those are pretty cool vehicles, because you can like fly up in the air, and they're I guess Da Vinci inspired, if that makes sense. That's what they kind of mention, is like they got a Da Vinci inspiration for the wood designs. But it's pretty cool because it's kind of focused on team play, where you can have multiple people on these machines moving around, fighting people, fighting the AI. There's PvP, PvE, you know, all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm going to dive further into what I wrote down. So they got a game browser, and you can filter regions, you get to create your own character. It seemed to have a pretty robust character creator. And I believe what we're seeing now is like the tutorial area of the game, just where you're kind of building stuff. You see like a crafting system. It's got some certain survival elements all over the screen. So we're kind of break it down here. Bottom left, survival stuff. Bottom right, map. Middle of the UI is kind of like your options for switching various weapons. I mean, I think it's kind of obvious in that regard, but it seems to also have like cues or hotkeys that you can do, similar to if you've played like Neverwinter or MMOs. So that's kind of neat. Simple, robust, but great customizing options when it comes to making your vehicles and for crafting various objects. Top right, some more further stats, and that's also objectives on the left. I think there's something else on the right too. It reminds me a lot of Conan, if that makes sense. Not necessarily the same, but I definitely felt like it was very similar from, you know, what I was seeing gameplay wise. That's sort of interesting, you know, sort of visceral, intense, you know, broken down, sandy sort of place, but there are slightly different regions and stuff that you go to. What we saw when we were watching was a Xbox build on PC due to capture card issues, so that's like my experience seeing in action. This is supposed to be representative of console though. Talked about character customization. Oh yeah, here's my notes. Top left are info icons, and below that is an objective meter, which we talked about. Yeah, okay, kind of went over that. Crafting system, various tiers for items, lots of cool base building options. leave bases on the map where you can take them to other areas on the Oasis, or other Oasis areas. Various base materials to choose from, furniture for your bases, so that's if you want to do base building. And I'm assuming this will be fairly popular on the channel, so we'll probably have some guides going over certain building elements and everything like that, like we typically do for this stuff. Exploration and looting systems. A tech tree, you find these special fragments and you can improve your tech tree. It did look as though first person and third person was available, but it mostly focused on third person. Now I don't know if that was like a weird area where they were kind of zoomed in and it looked like first, but yeah, it seemed... Oh, here we go. Yeah, that kind of shows it off. Good timing. Huh. Respawn beds are present. Walkers can be respawn points too. You can apparently just leave the tutorial and wander off. You can't return to the tutorial area once you've left. Walker machines get you around faster. Very cool wood-like structures. We mentioned that. Some will have wings. Very customizable. You can have weapons such as the ballista on them. Talked about the flying machines. Okay, creatures. Yeah, they definitely look like creatures. And they seem to be able to handle like hitting walls and stuff decently well. But as you notice, they do have like damage notes. And it seems like they've got shapes for each Oasis area, and then you can leave the shape and then go to a different one. It's kind of neat. And for this new season, I guess a little bit more of a verticality focus is present. I find the machines really fascinating, like really cool looking, and then you can like change the look of everything, and that's kind of nice, right? Just the adjustment, personalization. The new change is another big change is with the adjustment to the realms, which we kind of mentioned. So the idea is a lot of players, and I saw this when I looked at Steam stuff, kind of complain about bigger groups kind of causing issues, and they've been adjusting the game through these realms in order to kind of clean that up a bit, make that a little bit easier. A really cool part of the game is the grappling hook. You can do some really gnarly moves with it, so that's something to keep in mind. You can like swing around stuff. If you're falling off a ledge, you can grapple onto it and kind of swing yourself up. You know, you get cool elements like that right here with the grappling hook. Wow, the timing is really good on this video for that stuff. I'm not even on purpose timing any of this stuff, so it's just coming together. But yeah, you can like trade, you can meet all these different areas. It's quite interesting, actually. It seems decently expansive. They did mention how long it's going to be in game preview, and they said they're not going to commit to specific like schedule because they want to make sure they've got the game, you know, set and ready for their release. So could be in game preview for a while. We don't have any window or idea about that. There's a wingsuit you can use, so actually like, you know, straight up wingsuit for your character that you can fly around in. I don't know if they'll show when we're doing the flying here or not, but yeah. New map with verticality, we mentioned that. Bosses to battle, including camps to attack. Killing everyone will allow you to get the loot. Apparently quite a bit of PvE content that you can jump into. We talked about the backwards compatibility stuff, mouse and keyboard, and they may introduce private servers because some people that like these types of games enjoy, you know, private servers. We've seen that with DayZ. I think we've seen that with Ark too. But they haven't mentioned anything past that, but other than, you know, they have an interest in doing so, they're just not doing it right off the bat. So it's kind of cool seeing this in action, and yeah, I actually did like what I saw. I was like, oh, this looks very different. That's the thing, right? You know, you see so many games and you're like, oh, this is fascinating to me because it's so weird looking. It really is. You know, you've got your like combat and stuff, which feels familiar to other survival games, but then you got these cool machine things, and you have like a bunch of people in the machines. That's pretty neat. Cowley Spire's Oasis is what we're talking about for the new verticality area. And there's different like creatures. Apparently there's like giant worms, the long ones. These roaming creatures are the biggest threats the nomads will face. Asteroids. As the moon continues to crumble, more asteroids continue to fall from the sky. Interesting. For riches of the moon. Definitely fascinating. We've talked about really all the details I have information-wise. Of course, you know, questions and stuff are great too if people want to know more, and I'll try to dig up what I can. But that's the gist of the preview that we were able to get on this one. So it's kind of cool to jump in there. Oh, look at that thing. That is terrifying. But yeah, I think it's kind of cool looking. You know, like I said, it's very unique coming on the console platform. I don't really think we'd have much else quite like this. Oh, is he going to do the hang gliding? Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that a lot. And hopefully we'll have some more, you know, regular footage and showcases of this game in the near future. I hope you enjoyed this kind of like early preview and showcase of the game. It was a great thing to get. So be sure to like the video and that, so we can hopefully get some more exclusive content in the future. Subscribing is great too, and like I said, hopefully we'll be doing some more video stuff on this that we're actually able to capture myself, because this is like pre-provided footage, like B-roll and everything like that. And yeah, it's just kind of really neat. Like, here's one of the spires that they actually showed us, and they got creatures flying around. Like, it seems like a dead but lively world. I say dead as in it's like a scorched desert, but lively, and then there's lots of weird creatures and monsters that you're kind of dealing with and fighting. I think there maybe is a lot of potential for this on the console. It's great that we have a preview program on Xbox where they can develop and enhance and fix this over time and add things to it. I think that's really neat. And I guess I mostly look forward to seeing how this one goes, actually learning the mechanics for myself, aside from just being shown stuff. Obviously there's a different layer between playing and watching something, I would imagine, but I think you get the gist of a lot of what the game is from this video. I think it shows off a lot of elements of the experience and things you can do, and I think it looks like a pretty fun game. Like, this is what I was talking about for those cool grappling hook moments. I think that adds a lot to the game, being able to do that kind of thing. It looks like a lot of fun.